I will give you the first one. It was to look up, lift up, lighten up, make it up, give it up, kick it up, and then last week's you all made up a new one called live it up. Where'd that one come from?
And now we have up to me.
Start it up.
And now we're going to have It's Up to Me. That's right. I just wanted to share, though, that right after the service today, we are going to have something very special. One of our members is celebrating their 40th birthday. Who remembers when they were 40? That was a while ago for me. Quite a while ago. I know you all thought not, but yeah. That was a while back. Anyway, he's celebrating his 40th birthday, and he will be offering a dance. What is it called again? Spirit dance. No, what? The Unifier dance. And it's by Chad. And he'll be doing that afterwards right up here. So you're welcome to stay and join us. But right now, we're going to look at this whole idea of wrapping up the month. We've shared, and I've been sharing the 7 ups. Today is the last day of the ups. And that does not mean there's any downs, so not to worry. So it's all about being up. And today, it is really, the question is it really all up to me? And Reverend Pat seems to think the answer, that I have her answer. How many of you think that I have her answer?
Oh, yes.
She does. Okay, come here.
It's because you're the messenger.
I see. Okay, but the thing is, we're all messengers.
Yes.
Every one of us is a minister. Now, you may not have thought of yourself that way. Everyone is a teacher to the very core of their being, as Abraham Hicks teaches us. Some of you, many of you are familiar with Abraham Hicks. Some of you know about Abraham Hicks. Yeah. If you haven't, you can Google it. So they teach that every one of us is a teacher to the very core of our being. And we are. We're all teachers, and we're all ministers in our own way. A minister is just a messenger. A person that points the way, right? Or shares something that perhaps might be of value, offering up on the month. So the theme for today, or the message for today, is it really all up to me? I came from a book that some of you may have heard of, and you may have heard of this minister. His name is Robert Schuller. Who's heard of Robert Schuller? He has a humongous center or church called the Crystal Cathedral. You heard that? And he was, even though he was not a Science of Mind minister, or a Unity minister, or a New Thought minister, he sure spoke like one. And he wrote a book called If It's Going to Be, It's Up to Me. And so that's our question of the day. Is it really all up to me? Is it only up to me? And in answering that question, we might just unravel a seeming paradox of New Thought, because we are taught many things in our lives. But to begin with, I will share the 4 stages. You've all heard this, is very brief. The 4 stages of spiritual growth as taught by Dr. Michael Beckwith. How many of you have heard of Dr. Michael? He was on Oprah a few times. After he was on Oprah, you couldn't get to the door of the center because the lines on the freeway were so long. But anyway, so these are the 4 stages of spiritual growth. The first one is why me, or whining. Anyone do whining? Whining me. Why me? Number 2 is by me. Number 3 is through me. And number 4 is as me. So we know and we learn about spiritual principles, but we begin somewhere on our journey. You know, we have many paths. I love what we do, that we honor all paths and all religions and all spirituality. So how many of you remember, I did a whole sermon on this a while back on these 4 stages. Anyone here remember that? 1 of you. 2 of you. Okay, good. 3 of you. Very good. That's progress. Okay, very good. So very often, though, the reason I mention this is very many of us on this planet at this time, we kind of get stuck in stage 2. And that is, everything has to be done by me. As Reverend Pat so beautifully said, we often think that if something's going to happen, we have to do everything. We are responsible. We do teach here at our center and at all of our 500 centers around the world that we are responsible for our life. You know, if we look at our life, you will know what you believe if you look at your life. And so you are responsible. But is it all up to me? And that's the question we'll be looking at today. So the mindset where we think we have to do it ourselves, we have to make something happen, and through the power of our will. Anyone ever feel like they have to make it happen, like it's all up to them, and you have to force it? Anyone ever force something to happen? You think, oh, I got to make this happen. You've got to use your will. And what happens when you do that?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, sometimes things get broken. So we're trying to force it to happen. We want to use our strength. We want to make it happen. And so sometimes that doesn't necessarily always have the most positive result for us. And here's the story. There's a story of a woman who was warming up before her morning jog. And she stood a few feet from a tree, and it looked like she was pushing against the tree. You know how you warm up your calves? She was stretching her calves, and a young man was walking by. He happened to be a teenager. So, we love teenagers. How many of you are teenagers? We're all teenagers, right? Well, at least some point in our life. So sometimes we act like teenagers. That's a good thing. I like it. So this teenager is watching this woman pushing against the tree and warming up her calves, and he looks over and he gives her this kind of wisecrack. He says, "Lady, you're going to be there all day trying to push this tree." He said, "Why not use a saw?" And then he walked on. So I thought that was interesting, because many of us feel sometimes that we have to push really hard on our desire, our heart's desire, right? Whatever that might be for us. But we also sometimes feel like we have to use a saw. Anyone feel like they have to use a saw? Sometimes you have to kind of do that. So many of us feel that way sometimes about solving our challenges. Anyone have a challenge? Oh, that's good. No one has a challenge. That's good. All right. So we're pushing and pushing against this challenge, and when we push against something, we usually get resistance. When we push against something, we get resistance. So I want to be really clear. There is something, though, for us to do. In fact, there are several things for us to do, and that's what I'll be sharing with you today. The things that are ours to do, and then there is something that is not ours to do. And that will explain as Reverend Pat so eagerly sits in the front seat waiting for this to happen, to understand this. So how many of you love to control things? You didn't raise your hand. You want to control everything. Everything has to be controlled, right? And so the one thing that is not ours to do, over which we have no control, is the how. Now, the reason I say that, think of prosperity. I'll give you an example. Let's say you would like to create a greater abundance of prosperity and abundance in your life. You want a more divine flow of money. Let's just be very specific about it. And so you do your treatment, you say your intention, you are very clear that you say it every day, and you do your meditation, your spiritual practice, right? It is not up to us to say how it comes. Because when we say how it's going to happen, we get in the way. Like some people believe they're on, let's say, a pension. And they believe that's the only way that the universe can provide for them. Or they have an income, right? And that's the only way that the universe can provide. But there are many ways. There are limitless ways. There are infinite possibilities, right? That the universe can give to us whatever it is that we desire. Limitless ways. But we say it has to be a job, it has to be this, it has to be a pension, it has to be an inheritance of some sort, right? No, it can be, there's limitless ways. And so we can get in the way when we decide how it has to come. So we want to put that one aside. There's a song, how many of you have heard the song by Daniel Nahmod? It's on his CD called Water. It's called Planting Seeds. Anyone ever hear that song? You have? Okay. I'm just share a couple of the lyrics of it. He said, "I've been planting seeds on the ground, watering them with my sweat and tears, scattering them all around. Guess it's what I'm supposed to do with my years. Funny thing is, I may know what I've planted, but I never know what will show. It always seems to be, though, a perfect mystery." And then he goes on to say, "Sometimes I like to pretend I know what the harvest will be, but I always find out in the end, it was really never up to me. Funny thing is, when I just do my work, simply trust, it always seems to be that life is looking out for me." So those are some of the words from this song that I find to be very supportive of that. Abraham Hicks, again mentioning them, has 3 steps to creating your good. It's ask, believe, and receive. So many people ask clearly, but they do have the faith or the belief that it will actually happen. So one of the things that I purchased for all of you, is so much fun, is a $1 billion chocolate.
Yes.
But you don't get to get it until Christmas because Santa's bringing it. So how many of you believe that you would receive $1 billion, that you actually feel it's possible for you to? I mean, literally. A few of you? Okay. You'll split yours. With me?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We'll have $1.5 billion.
Oh, okay. So ask, believe, and receive. And then the receiving part is when we allow it to show up, or we allow it to be and to show up for us. So here are the parts. I'm going to very clearly say this. I made a handout, so you don't have to take notes unless you want to. Made a handout if anyone wants to take it, so you can very clearly understand what is ours, what is ours, what is up to us. So number 1 is it is absolutely up to us first to decide in what seeds to plant. We go inward and upward through visioning. We just completed our vision. How many of you were in the visioning class? We had a great visioning class, really fun. So a visioning class is different than visualization. In visioning, you ask, what is Spirit's highest possibility for my life? Because when you ask you that, you might think, well, we might lower ourselves or our thoughts about that, what is possible. But if we ask the universe, what is Spirit's highest vision? What is the highest possibility of my life? You might have a different answer. And it might be, for some of us, a little bit scary, right? Because it's really big. So in visioning, we did that. So we want to know the seeds that you want to plant and get a clear idea of what that is, to listen to your inner nudging. How many of you have inner nudging? Yes, inner nudging. Whether this comes in the form of a divine urge or a divine discontent. So sometimes our inner nudging can be a divine discontent. Or it can be a nudging. Okay, that's number 1. It's absolutely up to us to decide what seeds we're going to plant. Number 2, then it is completely up to us to plant those seeds. We plant those seeds through our prayers, through our meditation, and we work in our consciousness. Who remembers what is consciousness? What is consciousness? You were good at it.
All of our thoughts and words and feelings and actions.
Very good. So a consciousness is a compilation, sort of, if you want to say, an atmosphere, if you will, that we live in, that we create, that is a compilation of our thoughts, our words, our feelings, and our actions. And so that's our consciousness. So it is completely up to us to plant those seeds and plant those seeds through prayer and the consciousness. So that means that you don't one minute say, oh, I am a billionaire, and the next minute you say, I can't afford anything. Right? You are contradicting. Or I'm healthy and then I'm sick. Or I'm happy and then I'm not happy. Or I'm grumpy. So you want to put all of your attention on where it is that you want your life to be, on your clear, powerful intentions in a positive way. So that's up to us. We plant those seeds. Number 3, it is exclusively up to us to water and nurture that garden, those seeds. Not with our sweat and tears, but by tending to the vision or idea, by reading it daily and feeling into our vision by mentally putting ourselves in it. Abraham Hicks talks about this also, that we would make this picture. I saw this beautiful vision. It's a beach. And I saw 2 people walking down the beach, and it was a beautiful day. And they go on to describe this beautiful vision. And then Abraham said, well, did you put yourself in it? You're picturing it, but you haven't put yourself in it. So you want to put yourself in the vision, in the highest possibility of your life. So it is exclusively up to you to water and nurture those seeds. Number 4, it is totally up to us to weed the garden. What does that mean? By not allowing doubt. Who has doubts? Doubts, not allowing doubts or negative thoughts or discouragement to enter into our consciousness. And many of us will plant the seed, will have the intention, will know the truth, And then we'll doubt it, and we'll pull up the plant to see if it's really growing. Anyone ever do that? Is it really happening? I'm going to check it. You pull the plant. What happens when you do that? You kill the thing, right? So you don't want to do that. You can stop your doubts. Who knows the best way to stop your doubts and your negative talk? Anyone know how to do that? What's the best way? There's a couple ways.
Faith, I guess.
Faith is good. What else?
Change your thinking.
You change your thinking, right?
Meditation.
Meditation. You can also just say, stop. Like you talk to yourself. You ever talk to yourself that way? Enough already, Joy-anne. No more kvetching. No more complaining. I do my best. I catch myself. And the best thing we can do is catch ourselves. It's really embarrassing when someone else catches us. That's no fun at all, especially if you're the minister. My daughter used to do this a lot. She was so funny because she was raised since she was 2 in this teaching of being positive, and she has created the most amazing life for herself. And so if I would say something like, I ate too much and I feel fat, and she would say, Mother, you're creating that. She was. I know if your children do that, but I tell you, I would get scolded by my daughter all the time. I love it though, because hey, that's a good thing. All right, so it's really totally up to us to weed our garden, up to us to do that, and not allowing doubts or negativity or negative thoughts or discouragement. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. I've been praying for 20 years and it's not here yet. We get discouraged. Anyone do that? Yeah, you get that too. I love these words. A beautiful passage from Holmes. I'm just going to mention a couple of the lines that were from our reading. And he is so powerful. He says, just as you watch your garden, that foreign seed shall not fall into it, producing a growth of undesirable plants, so you must refuse entrance to any thoughts you do not wish to see manifested in your life. And you want to watch and tend to and bless this garden that you're growing, that is your life. I have the honor of attending and sitting in on practitioner panels when I was in my other ministry. We had about 19 practitioners, and so there's this one young man, and I love the answer that he gave. He said when he realized it was none of my business, he said, where my good comes from, or whether it even comes at all, when I let go of thinking it had to come from here or there, and when I quit stewing. Anyone does stewing? Anyone do stewing? I make stew. But I do my best not to stew. All right, so if there's any stewing, he said, then I quit stewing about whatever I had enough, whether I had enough or not. When I let go, this is the magic word, you've all heard this before, the magic words, I let go and
Let God.
Then all of a sudden, he said he was flooded with abundance. He stopped trying to push it through with his saw, and all of a sudden it was showing up. And that takes us to another thing that is up to us to do. And it is the first time we've done this outside of ourselves. This whole month we've been looking at, we're going inward. If we want to change what's out here, we have to start inside. If you want to know something shows up you don't like, you look in here. What am I thinking? What am I doing? What are my actions? What are my comments? What are my feelings? Feelings, very important. And so this last thing, and it takes us to another thing, and this last thing, and it's the first time we go out of ourselves, because all the rest have been internal. We do whatever work in the world is ours to do from the place of inner guidance, of trusting. Who has inner guidance? You have a connection. Every one of us we live and move and have our being inside the container that I call spirit. So we are living inside of the divine, and it is inside of us. It is everywhere present, powerfully present. And so we have guidance, but some people don't know that. And they've never tapped into it and never asked. If you ask, it is always given. You ask and it is always given. Ask and it is always given. So we ask for that guidance and it is there. And so we have to trust, and then we follow what we are told. So if let's say, I know someone who's looking for a job, and so maybe you do your intention, you do your meditation, you do your prayer, you're looking for a job, and then you have this sort of feeling, this sort of inner, very gentle sort of feeling that you should go online and look on Craigslist, or you should look in the newspaper, or you should go down to the government place where they have jobs listed. You have guidance. You should go to the university and there's a job there. And then you do the next step, and then you do the next step. It's not like you have to figure out the whole puzzle all at once. Dr. Holmes said this on page 323. He said, turning to the one with complete abandonment and in absolute trust, we will find that we are already there. We are already healed and we are already prospered. And therein lies the rub. Oftentimes that we can try so hard. We have not, though, completely trusted and turned and abandoned to that which is our source, which is everywhere present, always guiding us. And so I share this poem. You may have heard this before. Another thing we do not do is we don't let go. We don't let go. We want to be in control. And this is a little poem. I bet you a lot of you have heard it by Laura Burns. This is how it goes. As children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because God was my friend. But then instead of leaving him, or in our case, her, Mother, Father, God, in peace to do the work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. At last I snatched them back and cried, how could you be so slow? How could you be so slow? My child, God said, what could I do? You never did let go. And so sometimes we find ourselves in that place. It is up to us to let go. And that, of course, is the final and so important step of a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer that we teach here. And so we're going to do a spiritual practice right now as kind of bringing this all together of the things that are up to us and the things that are not up to us. And this is an inner ceremony, or I should say adventure. We're going to go on this adventure. So I'm going to ask our angel to play the music. He plays the angel wings. And so I'm going to invite you just to take in a deep breath, just to allow yourselves to be in this beautiful place of quietness. And so is it really up to me if it's going to be? Is it really up to me if it's going to be? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. Yes, we have to do our parts as we have explored this morning. Those things are absolutely and completely up to us. And no, the how, the outcome is not absolutely up to us. We must trust, we must have faith, we ask, we believe, we receive. And so as you close your eyes and take in a deep breath, and with whatever is going on with you today, if there is a challenge in your life, I invite you to take a moment and just focus on that challenge, whether it's health, whether it's prosperity, whether it's relationship, or maybe all of the above. Whatever the challenge might be, just take just a second. We're not going to build a condo there. We're just going to think about it for a moment. And if there is a dream you are working on, but it's not quite here yet, I invite you to picture it in your mind's eye. The dream. What is your dream? And to bring that into your awareness. And get a good picture in your mind of what that is. And so when you get focused on that dream, or if you want to resolve a situation, I'm going to ask you to place your non-dominant hand over your heart. This is a sacred ritual that will really serve all of us. And so imagine either if you have that challenge or if you have a dream, place your non-dominant hand over your heart and let that be a symbolic gesture of love and acceptance. That if you are having a challenge, one of the fastest ways to resolve a challenge is, it's going to sound funny, but is to love it. To accept it as it is. Say, okay, I love and accept this. And if you have a dream, you love and accept the dream. Simply love and accept yourself, yourself, right now, exactly as you are. And taking a couple of nice deep breaths and just love and accept yourself. Say to yourself, I love and I accept myself. And now keeping your hand over your heart and continuing to love and accept you right where you are. Right where you are. And at the same time, right now, I'm going to invite you to see yourself down the road. See yourself with this issue or this challenge completely resolved. If you have a challenge. It was addressed in a happy and joyful way, and it is now resolved. See yourself further down the road, and it's resolved. And if it was a dream, see this dream fully manifested. This dream has come into physical reality. It's no longer just a dream. It is now made visible. It is here and now. And you are now excited about this bigger experience of your life. And the you came here to be, so excited about that. You are sharing your gifts as you see yourself down the road. You are being the light. So get a clear picture of yourself, either resolving the challenge completely or so excited. You are in joyous anticipation. And you notice too that you have a great deal of wisdom and knowledge, more than you have today. And when you are ready to see yourself as that person down the road, that person, use your dominant hand to represent the you, that you, and place it on top of your other hand. So you are bringing into your heart the resolved challenge and or the dream. You're accepting that dream as now. This new you. And have your current self ask any question you want to the future you. I'm going to stop talking just for a minute so you can have a little dialogue. And so the you that you are now and the you down the road are going to have a little chat, a fireside chat. And you can ask any question you like about this dream or this challenge, anything you like. I'll be quiet now. Now our final step this morning is to bring your hands together, still at your heart, and you're lacing your fingers together. And in this lacing together, you are consciously integrating the two, recognizing that you already are that which you desire to be. You feel empowered and uplifted. You feel inspired and enlightened, energized, and you feel joyful. And when you feel that complete acceptance, that joy, that inspiration, that enlightenment, that empowerment, the energy of it, you separate your hands and you raise your arms and your chin up nice and high and just hold them there to celebrate and accept. Celebrate and accept that you are that. That your challenge is now gone and you are your heart's desire. You have achieved your dream. And if you really want to empower this moment, I'm going to ask you to stand up. To really empower it, you want to stand up. And just feel, because there's something about taking a stand. I take a stand for peace. I take a stand for joy. I take a stand for enlightenment and wisdom and love and beauty and laughter. I take a stand for my dream. I accept it. I am it. And so in that place of our hands risen in total acceptance, we just take one more minute to be in gratitude. Gratitude is the great multiplier of our good. So I just say right now, and saying to yourself in your mind's eye, in your heart, thank you, infinite spirit. Thank you, life. I am in gratitude for this day, for this time, for this dream that is now realized. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, universe. Thank you, life. I celebrate and I accept. And with that in mind, we say powerfully together, and so it is. Wow. I can feel that one. Good job, everyone. Empowered. We have a song.